Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here and welcome to the Echo AR workshop. Today we're going to talk about how to build AR VR applications in 15 minutes or less, and basically show how you can scale applications really, really quickly. So I'm going to start by saying hello. I'm Alon, founder of Echo AR. We are a cloud platform for augmented and virtual reality apps based in New York. I did my master's in computer science at Columbia University, specializing in AR and VR, and my undergrad in computer science, electrical engineering, which basically tells you that I'm a certified nerd and a big believer in the AR/VR space. Now, before we kind of dive in, I want to level set a little bit. We're going to throw in these concepts a lot, these terms, virtual reality, augmented reality. So let's define them together so we can basically understand what they mean. So virtual reality or VR is when everything around you is digital. You're fully immersed in a 3D environment, and everything you see is some computer-generated image or CGI that is being projected into your eyes through some headset, um, and your entire vision is occluded. Sometimes you kind of control it with your hands or control what you see through controllers. We're basically fully immersed in a 3D environment, as opposed to augmented reality or AR, in which you still see the real world, but our world is being overlaid with 3D content and CGI constructs, basically. You're looking at the world through some optical see-through, like glasses or a headset, or a camera see-through, like a phone or a tablet. Now, a really good way to understand this is the amazing movie Space Jam, in which we have Michael Jordan being teleported into Looney Town. Everything around him is a cartoon. He's kind of fully immersed in this cartoonish environment, interacting with bugs and the other Looney Tunes. As opposed to what we have later in the movie, in which we have Looney Tunes coming to us, playing basketball in a real court with Murray and Jordan, which is, again, the kind of differentiation. VR is us kind of being teleported into Looney Town, or augmented reality is when Looney Town is coming to us. So these are obviously really comical examples, but real world examples of this is something that you all probably know, like Pokemon Go, a really cool example of augmented reality in which people are running around with digital monsters that are not actually there. Or in VR, we have Beat Saber, which is a really cool game that you slash cubes based on the rhythm of the music. Now, another really good example of augmented reality, something that's really close to my heart, and the pun is definitely intended. This was my thesis project back at Columbia University, where we took CT and MRI scans, converted them into 3D, and basically put them on these smart glasses for the physician to wear and see the inside of the patient in real time. It was an amazing experience, an amazing kind of good use case of augmented reality to bring that into the OR. But the problem there was that I had to do something I really, really hate, and that's waking up early in the morning. Had to go to the hospital every day, 6 a.m., take those 2D scans, convert them to 3D models, rebuild the application, and deploy it to these smart glasses. And that process was very frustrating. It took a lot of time. And as a developer, I only wanted to do two things. I wanted to manage 3D data and deliver it to an AR device. And when talking to other developers who are building AR/VR applications for healthcare or digital media or navigation, they all said the same thing. There was no easy way to manage and deliver 3D data. But if you think about it, that problem is already solved for 2D. So if you think of building a website, you can use something like Heroku to be your kind of cloud platform for web. Or if you're using building a mobile app, you can use something like Parse or Firebase as your backend as a service. So we went from web to mobile to now AR, VR, immersive 3D, call it whatever. And we have this new type of content that we kind of need to handle. So who's going to help us do that? You've guessed it. That's us, that Echo AR. Basically providing tools and network infrastructure for developers and creators like yourself to build 3D applications at scale. Thanks for everyone who's engaging in the chat. If you have any questions, please feel free to write them in the chat. I'll try to answer. I'll try to answer them. And now let's dive in a little bit deeper, and then do a demo, and then do a technical demo, and see how we can build applications really, really quickly. So think about it. The same way you don't need to be a web developer to update a blog post, you can just drag and drop an image or video. Suddenly that appears in web and mobile. And if I'm in New York and I'm in California, let's say we're both watching an episode on Netflix, we automatically get the best streaming experience. So we translated these concepts into augmented reality and virtual reality, basically allowing you to match and manage 3D data and get the best 3D streaming experience. And what's interesting here is this bidirectional connection between content and data. As opposed to image or a video that you can't move, you can definitely move a 3D, let's say, couch across the room, and that needs to be updated on the cloud. So this is basically what we've built, this content management system and delivery network specifically for 3D that allows you to build applications really, really quickly. You can go to our website to register for free. And now I'm going to show a demonstration of how you can build applications really quickly using Echo AR. So definitely go to our website to register for free. If you're here through some hackathon or some kind of partnership, some coding event, ask your event organizers for the affiliated link that they got. That will allow you to get free premium access to our console for free. So definitely check that out and kind of take advantage of that perk. If you have that link, you will get our freemium tier for free. So check that out. So after you register on our website, again, either on just directly on our website or through the affiliated link, you're going to get an API key, a project key that basically will allow you to build applications. It will look something like this. So this is mine. Once you kind of get that API key, you get access to the console. That's what you see here on the left. And what you see on the right is just my phone. And I'm going to start something really, really simple. I'm going to upload some content. So what you can do is you can click Add to Cloud, and you can basically add 3D content to your what's going to become your application. So you can add your own files. That could be images, videos, 3D models, or you can actually choose from our library of 3D models that is all available right here that you can basically kind of stream into your project for free. We also have this kind of search engine integration that you can kind of search for 3D models, and then they're going to be kind of useful to use in your application. But I'm going to start with something really simple. I'm going to throw in this Empire State Building right here, posting it to our cloud. What happens right now is that we take that 3D model that is very suitable for 3D printing, and we convert it to work on Android and iOS and Magic Leap and HoloLens, all these different AR/VR platforms. And once that's done, we're able to see it right here. And now we're going to start with something super, super simple. I'm going to open a sample app right here. So if you go to our downloads page, you can have these sample apps are kind of available right here. I'm going to open the sample app. I'm going to plug in my API key. So we already know my API key, so let's plug that in. So blue water, there you go. The data will stream from the cloud to the device. The camera on my device will instantiate. You're seeing a view of my apartment. Camera recognizes there's a floor here, that there's a surface, and voila, the Empire State is here with me. And I can walk around it, walk inside, super, super simple. And all I had to do is just like post it to the cloud. Now, let's say I want to change this to something else. So instead of doing anything technical, I can go back to the console, delete the previous entry, upload something else, and that will automatically update across platforms. So let's see how that works. I'm going to upload this model instead. Let's say this building. Again, same process occurs. We have a question here. How can we find 3D models? So as I mentioned, right here, we have like a search engine that you can like search for 3D models. So any word you type in will kind of search the web for the 3D models that you want. Another question that we have here, will this video be posted? Yeah, so this link on YouTube will stay, and you can kind of always revisit it and look at this up again. No worries at all. So now that we have this right here, we can see this new content. I'm going to open the sample app again. You don't have to rebuild anything. Plugging in my API key. Data will stream again from the cloud to the device. And voila, suddenly we see a different building. Super, super simple. All we had to do is just swap the content. Perfect. So the example that we saw so far was around basically a mobile example, a mobile app. But another thing that you can do is web integration. So we now saw AR through mobile. Now I'm going to show you AR through web. So if you click this button right here, it will show you kind of the generate these QR codes that you can kind of scan. I'm going to do that right now. And if you have a phone right now with you, you can scan this QR code with me. It will redirect you to a website, and you'll be able to see this building right now, wherever you are. This will keep working up until the point that I'll delete that 3D model. So kind of make sure that you're doing it with me live. But it's super, super easy. We have a few questions about uploading your own files. We're going to see that in a sec. In a sec, I'm going to just upload my own files. No worries at all. So now we have this kind of 3D device. Again, do the same thing with you. Just scan this QR code. I'm going to leave it right here. Then you can click See in AR. The camera recognizes the floor, and voila, I'm able to see the same building that we saw earlier, but now it's here through a web browser and not through an app, so I don't have to install anything. Super, super simple. Really useful. We work with clients, for example, that had an art agency in the art space that didn't want people to install an app because there's like a lot to ask from them. So they just use this web integration that people can just scan a QR code, automatically see it in AR. Perfect. So we saw web, we saw mobile. Another example that I want to show you is Unity. It's a game engine a lot of developers love to use to build AR/VR applications. And later, I'm going to kind of show you how to do that. So let's plug that in. So if I open this Unity app, and again, you have our Unity SDK right here. We're going to dive in later how to do that. Camera will instantiate. We're going to see the same kind of layout. The camera will see the floor. Voila, we're seeing the building. But let's say I want to change something. Let's say I want to change the model, or let's say I want to make it animate in real time. So I can click this button right here, and it will actually open the data panel. I can add any data that I want. This is free text, so you can basically plug in whatever you want. But I'm going to start with something built in, like direction equals right. And bam, suddenly it starts to animate in real time. How cool is that? Well, let's say if I think it's too small, I can do scale equals 2. Bam, now it's 2 times bigger. So these are obviously like really, really kind of small examples, but they're here to show that you can change things in real time. You can send data from the console to the device in real time, and it will allow you to kind of disable or enable features, add features that you want. Super, super simple. Perfect. So before I go into answer a few questions, everything we saw so far was the camera recognizing the floor. So basically the camera will recognize the floor, that's surface detection. But another technology we support is image recognition. It's for the camera to recognize an image, and I overlay that with 3D content. So let's see how that works. So if I click this button right here, I can do, instead of see on the floor, I can do see on an image. And then I have a different QR code that I can scan. And again, if you have a phone right now, you can scan it right here with me. So just put your phone in front of this. Again, the camera will instantiate through the browser. You don't have to install anything. But now the camera recognizes this image as opposed to the floor. So you can actually kind of overlay images with 3D content and images, and we're going to see that in a sec. But again, really cool way. This image could be anything you want. It could be your business card, then you show videos of yourself. It could be a magazine, and then you show advertising. Really, really cool stuff. And now we have a few questions in the chat about uploading your own files and uploading your own models. So let's see how that works. So if we go back here to the Add to Cloud, what I could have done, instead of choosing one of these files, I could have uploaded my own file. We did 3D models already, so maybe I'll upload a video for now. So I can upload literally just an MP4 file. So let's do that. I'm going to throw that in. I'm going to throw in, instead of putting it anywhere, I'm going to put it on an image this time. So let's see how that works. So I'm going to put just a different PNG, and then next. Perfect. So now we have the same upload process, but now we're uploading kind of content from my local computer. And instead of a 3D model, I just threw in a video and an image. If you do want to upload a 3D model, and we'll see that later, you can upload your own type of files. It could be OBJ, FBX, GLTF, GLB. These are kind of the most kind of popular 3D formats. You can create them through 3D Paint, or there's software called Tinkercad to basically kind of create these 3D files with like a 3D Paint kind of thing, and then you can upload them to Echo AR. But again, as I mentioned, you have this kind of search engine right here, then you can upload whatever you want. Maybe I'll throw in another 3D model in a specific location. This is basically for you to kind of, let's say I want to put this fox in New York. And now this means that if you open the app in New York, it's going to show you, let's say, the Empire State Building. But if you open it in San Francisco, it's going to show you the Golden Gate Bridge. Super, super simple. So let's see, go back to the question. So I hopefully that answered the question about like uploading your own files and from CAD softwares. Again, if you use Maya or Blender to create 3D files, just export them to GLB or FBX and upload them to Echo AR. Another question that we have, is there a catalog of these commands? Yes, I'm going to show the documentation in a sec. Great questions. What type of models can be uploaded? So as I mentioned, it could be images, it could be videos, and it could be 3D files that are in format of GLB, FBX, OBJ, and so on. And I'm going to show you the other stuff in our documentation in a sec. Yes, Sketchfab as well. So you can use Sketchfab and kind of export that to GLB. Super, super easy. You can use Sketchfab. That is definitely a possibility. And we have a question in the chat about Blender. Yes, so you can use Blender as well. Export your file from Blender as GLB and upload it to Echo AR. Super simple. I'm going to show it to you in a sec again. Just another thing that I want to show you about like the videos, just quickly, if you scan the QR code right here, I just want to show you how that AR works there as well. So let's see that. So now the camera, again, instantiates through a web browser. You can do that as well if you want to scan it with me. But now the camera won't recognize the QR code anymore. It needs the original image. And then if I put the phone in front of the image, there you go. Camera recognizes it, and I'm able to see this video on top of it. Super, super simple, super, super cool. And again, you don't have to install anything. Like, it works through a website. So the best software to create 3D models, I would recommend Tinkercad, Blender, Maya. Tinkercad is really easy because it's free and it's really easy to use. Another question is, are we talking about AR? So everything I saw so far works for VR as well. Later, we're going to see how to use Unity to build AR VR applications, and that will be more in depth when you talk about how to actually build an application through code. Great question so far. Okay, so we saw videos, images, 3D models. We saw how you can use that on mobile, on web, on Unity. Some other resources that you had a lot of questions about, so let me share it with you here. So first of all, here we have all our SDKs that you can kind of download to build applications. You can obviously switch a theme, which is cool, but dark being the default. But let me share some resources that might be really helpful. This is our documentation. I'm going to share the link right here in the chat. Basically, a step-by-step guide of everything I did so far. So how to load a key, how to see things in augmented reality, like really, really cool stuff with GIFs, kind of show you how to do that. Even here, if people are looking again, like all these tools, so we have here search engines for 3D models that you can find 3D models, and there's also like tools to create 3D files right here. So definitely just kind of check that here. Super cool. Also tells you about like, other features that you can do, like sharing a 3D model. For example, if I want to share this file with you, again, it will work up until the point that I'll delete it. But here you go. You can kind of use it here in the chat. Other thing that we can have is our GitHub page. It is filled with amazing examples that are all open source that you can kind of grab. If you're working on a hackathon, you can literally take any of these examples. I'm going to show a few of them right now. Let's see what's cool. Let's see the election demo, and let's see the living room demo, and let's see the face change demo, and the solar system demo, and let's see the remote work demo. So these are all kind of open source demos that you can kind of choose and play around with. I just want to show you a few of them to kind of get a sense of what you can build. But there you go. You can build a really cool AR demo with videos and 3D models and real-time data to show kind of elections results. Really, really fun stuff. You can show a living room inside a living room, basically binge watching a movie inside a living room. That is really cool. Another example of something that you can build is a face filter app, like swapping your face. Really cool. Again, check out all these demos at the link that I'm sharing right here for our GitHub. Here's an educational app with the solar system to kind of tell people about it. Here's a remote work one that you kind of project a kind of face of a person in 3D and just going to add some text to it in real time. Or this thing that uses, for example, image recognition that you can kind of overlay videos on top of images to make them come to life, like we saw earlier. Shannon is asking, is it possible to integrate many of the 3D models together? Yeah, so 100%. So later we're going to see how you can kind of build your own application and stream everything and as many 3D models you want, as many kind of videos all working together. Now, what else can we do in the console before we move into the coding portion of the workshop? So we can control data, as we saw earlier. You can add kind of metadata to specific 3D models, but you can also add kind of data across all the project. An example I could give is like we worked with a company who did a really cool scavenger hunt game in AR, kind of this murder mystery game. They had different files associated with different scenes, but they also had like this data that is associated across all the project. In the subscription part, again, you can kind of monitor your API calls and storage and bandwidth that you're using. And if you're using the affiliated link that we provided the hackathon providers, you're going to get this tier for free. So definitely check that out. If you're having any trouble or whatnot, you can always reach out to our team for help. I'm going to share this link to our GitHub right here. So to our Slack channel, sorry. So there's a link here that you can kind of always join our Slack and ask questions for our support team. And I'll also going to stick around there and answer some questions later. So definitely kind of make sure to go to our Slack if you have any questions. You can also kind of email us or tweet us, super simple. Other things that we can do, we can manage locations. Remember, we added like the Fox in New York, so we can see it right here. We can see the distribution of the data. We can see the kind of servers that are using to stream your content. If you're working as a team, you can add people, you can add kind of team members in your in the security page to basically add them to your project. You can learn of some insights about your project. For example, we just streamed the apartment building, so we see a spike in usage. We see like a most popular model, some more information about how people are using our project. We can monitor users. We can see tutorials here, which is again goes back to what I showed you on our GitHub page, like all these different open source tutorials that you can kind of use in some kind of frequently asked questions. Another link to our GitHub and another link to our documentation. It's super, super useful to read the documentation in order to understand what you want to do and kind of answer your questions. The inspiration page is my favorite page. This is filled with amazing examples of people who built things in augmented virtual reality using Echo AR, like the art installation that I mentioned, or a murder mystery game, or a project that we did for Verizon 5G. Amazing, amazing stuff here around medical use cases in army and art in advertising and games. Really, really cool stuff. Here's a few examples of people who did project during hackathons and did that around COVID-19. Really, really cool stuff that uses surface detection or image recognition. Really, really powerful stuff. So definitely check that out. Can we recognize real-life objects? So yes, we have a demo of that right here that I can share. I think it's one of we definitely have a search for a object recognition kind of a demo right here. I think you should be able to find it. I think it uses VisionLib as the API. Yeah, model tracking. So I'm going to share that. Check out this demo. Perfect. So let's recap before we move on to a more technical part. So what we saw so far. So we saw how you can upload 3D content. We saw how you can upload videos, images from your computer, from our search engine, how you can see them in AR automatically, how you can play around with content, how you can make it animate in real time. But everything we did so far was very kind of non-technical. And again, you can do that really quickly. You just drag and drop something, see that in AR automatically, use the demo apps or use the QR codes. If you're building a website or you're building a mobile app, you can actually embed these kind of QR codes or these experiences. You can actually embed this link into an iframe in a website, then automatically get that AR experience. So definitely check that out. It's all described in our documentation. But now let's move on to a more technical portion of the workshop and see how you can build an application with Unity, which is a game engine that is really popular among AR/VR developers. So what all you need to do is download our Unity SDK right here from the downloads menu. It's a file that you can double click and that will kind of add to your Unity project, or you open Unity and then you kind of import that. So this is Unity. It's a game engine, as I mentioned. Really simple. As you see, there's nothing here right now, but it is used again to build AR and VR applications. So once you embed our SDK, maybe let's put this side by side. We basically have this kind of folder called Echo AR. If you double click that, you'll see the kind of sample scene that opens up. This is an empty scene. There's nothing here, as you can see. But what I need to do right now is kind of connect it to the cloud. And the way we do that, again, it's like super simple. You just need to plug in your API key. So I click on the Echo AR game object. I plug in my API key right here, press play, and voila, that's it. Out of thin air, models will start streaming from the cloud. There we go. We have the rotating building. We have the video playing. The fox is here occluded by the building. So let's move it a little bit. I'm going to delete the video because it's playing in my ear, but see that I'm deleting it right here, and it automatically kind of deletes from the game engine. How cool is that? Or if I want to move this fox that's 10 feet away, bam, suddenly it moves. So super, super simple. All you have to do is add metadata and it automatically kind of changes in real time. And what's cool about AR is that if you stop the scene from playing, everything disappears. So nothing actually persists in memory. When you build your application is still going to be super, super small. And only when you play it or when you start the application, data will stream from the cloud to the device. So let's see how that works again. I'm pressing play, and then bam, suddenly we see the building again. We see the fox kind of right here. And check out how the fox is still 10 feet away from the building. What we have here is what we love to call a stateful CMS. It remembers the state of your application and was able to kind of recreate it. But now let's talk about adding, like modifying something or adding new features. How can we do that? So I'm going to delete the building right here. Or again, see if now that it's kind of rotating, if I delete the rotation metadata, bam, it stops rotating. But I'm going to delete the building. Again, it's going to happen in real time. And let's put the fox back in the center. Perfect. So now we have the fox called Arctic Fox right here with us. And let's say we want to change something. Let's say we want to change its name in real time. So what I'm going to do right now is every 3D model that is being instantiated with Echo AR has the custom behavior script attached to it. It's a really cool C# script in Unity format. If you know C# perfect. If not, but you know Java or any other object-oriented language, that's great too. It's really simple, and let's review it together. It has two main functions. One is the start function, evident by its name, happens when you start the application. Another one is the update function. This is a really interesting function. It happens every single frame. Remember, you're coding in 3D, which means there's a kind of a scene being rendered, there's like a video being rendered on your phone, and this function basically runs every single frame. This means that if this function hangs or gets stuck, your entire application will get stuck. So you need to remember your kind of computer science fundamentals and when it comes to complexity, and make sure that this kind of app is this function is well optimized. But let's start with something simple. Let's go to the start function and let's review the code there. What we have here is basically no snippet of code that basically adds another function to our game object that asks, do I have any additional data? If I do I have an additional data called name? If that is the case, set the name of the object to that name. Super simple. Let's see how that works in practice. So now when we press play, we're able to see that the name of the fox is Arctic Fox, right? But now let's say I want to change it. So now I know that if I add a name to it, let's say name, and I'm calling it Kevin, and pressing play, data will stream from the cloud to the game engine, and there you go. Automatically, we see the name of the fox now is Kevin. How cool is that? Super, super easy. And we're able to change everything through code. If I change this from Kevin to, let's say, Sam, nothing happens. Why is that? Because that snippet of code only happens when you start the application, which means, again, if I restart the application now the fox will be named Sam. Let's see that. There you go. But what happens if I do want this to happen in real time? So what I can do, and I'm sure some of you already guessed it, is I can move this snippet of code from the start function to the update function, basically saying that every single kind of frame, we're going to ask, do I have any additional data? Do I have a name? And if so, let's set that. So let's see how that works in practice. So I'm going to restart the application. Data will stream from the cloud to the device. We will see the fox and now being named Sam. So let's give it a sec. And once that is done, let's give it a sec. Let's answer questions in the meantime. Do you have a multi-thread example? Yeah, so everything happening with Echo AR is actually asynchronous, happening in its all kind of threads. The cool thing about Unity is that it has like really kind of cool kind of basically memory kind of management. So as long as you do things in like coroutines, you should be fine. Let's see. This is still compiling for some reason. Let's give it another sec, and if not, come on, Unity. Yeah, still compiling. So let's give it another sec. And if not, we'll restart this. Let's call it name 2 for a sec. Perfect. Let's go back. Yeah, Unity got stuck on me for a sec, so I might have to restart it. That's not the case. We'll move on. Yeah, bear with me here for just 1 second. I'll restart Unity. Come on. No. Okay. Yeah, so for now, if you want to see the fox, you can scan this QR code and give me 1 sec to restart Unity. So after we kind of see that example, I'm going to show you a more complex example that uses Unity, basically open sourced in our GitHub page. So let me open that up as well while we wait for Unity to open. And let's find that example again. Scan this again if you want to see the fox in your phone right now. And let's search for that cool thing that we want to recreate. There you go. This is this demo. Let me close this code as well. Perfect. Yeah, Unity is opening, so bear with me. Yeah, I wanted to kind of do a cool example right here. Let's see if we can find it. There you go. Okay, so now Unity reopened, and now if we plug in our API key again, like you remember earlier, and press play, again, data will stream from the cloud to the device. Perfect. Now we have Sam the Fox again. And now if I change this to something else, let's say Kevin, bam, now it changes back in real time. So this is obviously like a super, super simple example. But again, you can kind of use that to control if flows, add features. You can basically change that code to be whatever you want. And the cool thing about it, again, like you can kind of push things in real time. Here we added a name, but it can be whatever you want. You can change, you can move stuff, you can animate it, you can control if flows, you can control enable, disable features remotely. Super, super simple. Let's see. Do we have a few questions here? We can't. What do you mean we can't download Unity? Unity is free, and kind of just go to their website and download it. Or in our documentation, there's a section about Unity that you can just follow to kind of make sure that everything works and whatnot. I'm going to share the link right here. So we can't use the Unity app. No, so the QR code is different. The QR code is what I showed you about the web AR, basically kind of instantiating web experiences. And the Unity, what we're doing right now is kind of building your own fully fledged app. Is it possible to modify a virtual object in AR with the touchscreen? 100% yes. Everything we saw so far, you saw that I were able to move the kind of 3D model with my finger on the phone. Super simple, 100% yes. Pinching, all these kind of gestures work automatically. If you use our Unity example to build your app, that's built in. If you use the web examples that I showed you, that's built in as well. Great question so far. We have another question, uploading models like FBX with rigging data. Yeah, so that will kind of be built in. As long as you can throw in that FBX, it will have its own information, and when it will be rendered in Unity, you'll be able to kind of play around with that. Great question. How do we position virtual objects in the scene using a touchscreen? So again, depending on if you use the web AR thing or if you use Unity, usually you just click it with one finger and move it around. It's that simple. Now let's continue to a more kind of sophisticated example from the one that we saw. I'm going to delete this Fox. So if everyone could have tried the link or the QR code, it'd probably fail. And now let's upload our own 3D model. So I'm going to throw in, I have a file right here. Let me take it from storage. There you go. So I'm throwing in a GLB file. And I'm just going to throw in this kind of Excel CSV file that already has all these keys and values together. So our system will kind of parse them together. And I don't have to kind of type them in. So let's plug that in. There you go. Now, while it uploads, I'm going to swap the custom behavior script under the hood to a more robust script, and then we're going to review it together. So let me plug that in. Now we're going to kind of recreate the example from our GitHub page that does this really cool code visualizer. So let's open the custom behavior script and let's review it together while kind of our 3D file is being uploaded. So let's look at the custom behavior script. Oh, there you go. The upload is done. We're able to see the building right. Now it's, sorry, it's not the building, the blue earth right here. And we can see that all these kind of metadata is already associated with it because we attached the CSV file. So now let's look at the custom behavior script. So now we have this array of continents. We have this dictionary, this data structure. The start function looks pretty much the same, but the update function is much more interesting right now. Let's dive in and see what it does. So in the beginning, it asks, do I have any additional data? If so, do I have an additional data called scale? If that's the case, parse it into a number. And then iterate over all continents. Do I have an entry that goes along with a continent? If so, parse that number to the number of COVID cases in that continent. Then if we have a graph, resize the graph to the number of cases. If we don't have a graph, let's create a graph. Let's create a cylinder, give it a color, give it a name, give it a location, give it a size, give it, let's say, add some text to it. And if we don't, let's just delete that graph. Super simple. Now let's see what happens when I press play. So data will stream again from the cloud to the game engine. Now we'll be able to see, instead of the Fox, we have this, come on, Unity, there you go. Now, instead of the Fox, we have this graph. Yeah, Unity is messing up a little bit. Let's give it a sec. Yeah, so we see the app right here. Maybe I'll restart it again. Give me one sec. So you saw that like automatically, there you go. Automatically we have Earth, perfect. Okay, so now we have Earth spinning. Super simple, we have Earth spinning right here. We have all these graph points based on the data that we injected, and now we can change things in real time. So now if I go to, let's say, Antarctica and I change 1 to 8, bam, suddenly the graph jumps automatically. Or if I delete Antarctica completely, bam, it disappears. So this is a really kind of cool example of something that you can build in augmented virtual reality. If you build this application right now to your mobile phone, you'll have an AR/VR application. Super, super simple. And again, everything is open sourced on our GitHub page. If you have any questions, feel free to write them in the chat. And again, I think this is a really, really cool project, especially if you're doing a hackathon. This is definitely a winning project. If you take something like that, then you expand on it. Let's say you connect, instead of putting these numbers manually, you connect to our API and you change numbers remotely with, let's say, you connect to the WHO, the World Health Organization, and have actual numbers here as opposed to just mock-ups, like actual cases of COVID in the world, and kind of plug that in. That could be like an amazing, amazing project. Perfect. So let's recap. So we saw mobile, we saw web, we saw Unity, we saw surface detection, we saw image recognition, so many really, really cool things. So we saw that you as a developer, you can choose any kind of platform, again, mobile, web, Unity, you name it. If you're a content creator and you're not that technical, no worries. You can just drag and drop 3D models to our console. Everything we did in the beginning was very non-technical, just seeing things through QR codes, very, very easy. Our cloud will build, store, and deliver all that data to your phone, to your browser, anywhere in the world. Super easy. Developers obviously save time and money on building their application. Content creators need no technical skills, and companies can send data all over the world. We talked about use cases of augmented and virtual reality. For example, we talked about healthcare and digital media and navigation. We saw really, really cool stuff in the inspiration page. Let's see that. For some reason, my slides froze. Yeah, today is a really Murphy's day that like everything needs to freeze. It does freeze. Yeah, let's give it a sec. Let me close Unity. I think Unity is a troublemaker today. Perfect. Let's reopen the slides. Sorry about that, you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to Raja. Yeah, we have, is it possible to create VR games? Yeah, so 100%. So what you saw in Unity, for example, if you build that, that's a completely VR game. You saw that digital environment that you can just kind of build, and that's completely VR. If you build something with, like if you have a headset like an Oculus Quest or whatever, you can kind of tag that in and that will work automatically. So super, super simple. There we go. Yeah, bear with me. Any other questions before we move on? I just need to reopen my slides. There we go. Come on. Sorry about that, you guys. Give me one more second. Perfect. So some other stuff about us as a company. We won a bunch of awards. We kind of are backed by some of the most amazing investors in the countries, and we're featured in all these kind of really cool tech events. So if anything goes, you know, when things go back to normal, and if you're attending a tech event, say hello to our team. We're probably going to be there. We love to say that we empower people to build applications across all platforms. So definitely start building things in mobile and web and Unity like we saw during the workshop. I'm really excited to see what you're going to build. And again, if you use that and kind of send this our way, we're going to feature you in our inspiration page. Make sure you register for an API key, like I said in the beginning. Use the affiliate links from the hackathon providers. If you're affiliated with the hackathon, you're going to get premium features for free. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. If you have any more questions, happy to answer them. So just write them in the chat. And if you have other questions, feel free to join our community Slack. And basically, we're going to answer questions there as well. It's the best ways to reach our team for any technical support. About bringing data from outside sources and turning them. Yeah, so for example, so this is a great question. I'm going to put it on screen. So for example, like I mentioned, in our console right now, you can kind of manage content remotely, but you can also kind of post this data through API calls. If you go to our documentation and go to API queries right here, so queries and data, you can actually post data and save data to the cloud. So for example, you can use this API query to say, okay, I want to change the data remotely. So I can post to my Blue Water, I can post data about Antarctica in 8 and stuff like that. And you can do the same thing with your API key. So you can just like publish the data. And if you write a script that kind of takes data from your computer or from some third-party API, that's the way that you can integrate that into Echo AR, that you can kind of have your script or some kind of application that runs and gets data from a third-party source and then post that to Echo AR, and that will affect your application. Super simple. Great question. Any other questions? And if not, again, feel free to kind of reach out later. Kind of super happy that you all here. Stay safe, healthy, and sane during these weird times, and start building amazing things in AR and VR. Super excited to see what you're all going to build. Have a good one, everyone. Again, build amazing applications and let us know. Yeah, and thank you so much for joining this webinar. Have a good one, everyone.